Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
I'm shaking, I'm sure you can tell, but I just found a pot full of silver coins and some other stuff in here. That's an 1877 Indian. Oh my word. Ray! Yeah, you got me, man. Ah!
I knew
I've been having a rough one until
look
now.
at it! Ah, yeah! Oh, it's a seed in half,
Oh
dude!
yeah!
Oh my god!
On live dig!
Oh my god!
Yeah! 1875, baby! Okay. I don't know where to begin. It's been 2 days now since I found this amazing find. I guess I'll start from the hunt. I was in Massachusetts visiting a friend, Dan, and brought me to his spot. It's a farm field. And turns out when I got there, I realized I'd already been there years ago, about 6-7 years ago. And found a few things, but didn't kill it by any means. And I think I just, left, so I never went back. So, he found some good stuff. Dan found some great stuff actually, and so I thought, hey, let's do it. And we metal detected all day in that one field. And so Dan left around 5:30. And by the way, there's going to be another video with the rest of the finds that we found probably next week. I found some really good stuff. But yeah, he left around 5:30 and I stayed. I was traveling a long ways. I wanted to, get my money's worth, so to speak. So, yeah, I stayed and I found a couple things and it was getting dark. Found a copper and a silver. It's getting dark and I'm, still going. And then I start, popping out things. Good things, nothing crazy, but good things. And it had been pretty slow. I mean, I found a lot of buttons during the day and stuff, but it had been generally slow until this point. And so I kept going and I hunted through the dark. And let me just tell you, there's houses and stuff around. It's a public field, it's a kind of a park type place. People walk their dogs and everything. Not really a park, but it's kind of like it's a farm field. It's a hay field. It's been turned into a public area. So I had no problems. I didn't, think there would be any problems with me staying there through the dark. But there were houses in the area. And so I didn't use any lights, kind of weird, flashing lights out in the middle of the field, with houses around and stuff. And so I was just trying to be a little inconspicuous, so I just kind of, when I got stuff, I just stuffed it in my pouch or my pocket and just kept going. And well, it was around 9:30 at night, I was about ready to quit anyway. And I got to this one last signal and I wasn't going to quit after the signal, but you'll see why I did. So I dug it up and I felt for it and I felt it and it felt like trash. And then, so I'm feeling around with my fingers and I'm like, I've felt this before. This feels familiar. So it ended up, I knew it was a pair of cufflinks and colonial cufflinks because they felt thin and, it was the right size, the oval shape. So I knew I had a pair of colonial cufflinks. And so I was like, cool, that probably would be my best find of the day. If it was just any old cufflinks. So after that, I got up, started moving my detector around a little bit, and then a really loud, strange noise came on my detector, and it just quit on me. So I don't know if the battery, I still don't know. I haven't checked if the battery's died or if it's actually my detector. I should check that soon. But anyway, so that was it. That was it. I was done after that. So I had stuck the fines in my pocket, and I walked back to my truck, and I looked at my stuff that I had found in the dark inside my truck. And I had found a large cent, a Canadian silver dime, and some musket balls, and you'll see everything in the next video. There's more than that, so no worries. I'm not naming everything, but I saw the cufflinks, and I confirmed they were colonial cufflinks, and I didn't think anything of it, and I stuck them back in. Went home, 2.5 hour drive home. I was tired. It was late. Went to bed, and then I got up in the morning, and I went to look at my stuff. And I was curious to see if there was a design on the cufflinks. There often is. So I'm looking at them, and I look, and I see there is a design. There's a pattern. So I'm like, hey, cool, and I'm rubbing them a little bit, kind of cleaning them off gently. And then all of a sudden, a silhouette, a bust starts to appear. And I thought, oh my word, that looks like George Washington. So I've seen, GW, George Washington, inaugural cufflinks, same as the buttons. I've never seen a bust. But it just felt like it was related to George Washington at that point. And then I cleaned them off a little better, and I can see that it says 2 Adams, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's something to do with John Adams, but I still felt like it had something to do with George Washington as well. Long story short, I have a friend who is a button collector, one of the most prominent button collectors around, lives in New York. And so I texted him and asked him if he could give me any information on it. And he knew exactly what it was right away. And what they are is a pair of John Adams cufflinks, and he thinks that it had something. There's little information out there on these. They're very, very, very rare, but he thinks that they had something to do with George Washington, kind of commemorating John Adams' presidency. So anyways, it's an extremely rare find. I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna stop talking for a second and show you the find. So here they are at long last. Let me put the light on them. So there they are. You can see a clear bust, and it says either 2 Adams or J.O. Adams. As kind of could be either one right there. So that's them. And I've got some other information I want to share with you. So let me just get to that information. First of all, these papers are stuff that I've found. There's not much online. So what I have found is that there is less than 10 of these in existence. It's ultra rare. It's more highly collectible than GW buttons or anything of the like, because it's incredibly scarce. And John Adams stuff is very, very rare. As a matter of fact, let me read this article to you. As you can see, it says John Adams is the most difficult president to represent in a collection, with a vintage item from his era as our second president. In fact, the original DeWitt book on pre-1896 small format items has no listings at all for Adams. However, when Ed Sullivan revised the DeWitt book in 1980, he was able to picture 2 items and list, but not picture, this cuff button as JA17963, about a dozen, and then it goes on. I don't have the rest of that, but so as you can see, John Adams stuff is incredibly rare. So down here, let me just tell you, I don't metal detect for money. I don't metal detect to find things to sell. I'm hugely a collector of the things that I find. I've only sold actually a couple things ever, and it was so I can go metal detecting in England and have the money to do that. And so I'm let me just move on to the value here. I just wanted to preface it with that. I don't know. I'm still really kind of on the fence whether I'm going to sell it or not. It won't be for a while if I do. But let me just go ahead and show you. Well, let's see this one. This one right here is the button that we just read about. Kind of in crappy condition. And let's see, the estimated getting price for this would be $5,000 to $10,000. Starting price bid was $3,000, and that's a crappy pair. And they're not together, by the way. They're separate. Mine are linked together. And this one, I have a couple of printouts here that I've taped together. I believe that this one here, let me get this out of the way. This one here and this one are the same set. I think that somebody separated them and sold them separately. So this is actually the most recent, I believe. This was this year. February 2020. One piece, only one. I have two that are linked together, sold for $7,500. Are you freaking kidding me? $7,500. That's the most recent. Back in 2016, this one sold for $8,750 for a total of over $16,000 for the two, if they were indeed from the same. They look the same condition. They look almost identical. $8,750. So quite possibly those are worth $16,000 plus dollars. And it all depends on the market. It all depends on if you have the right buyers, if you put it on the right site. All that, of course, matters. So, but I'm just saying, potentially, I'll go back to myself here. Potentially, it's worth over $16,000, and who knows? I was thinking, if they're together, I haven't seen a set. There's only like 3 of them, I think, on eBay, on the internet. For examples of what's out there, and none of them were linked together. None of them. They were all separated. So I might have the only, I'm not positive, but I might have the only pair that is linked together, which would be unbelievable. And maybe there's value in that that would be added to, to just the buttons themselves individually. Man, guys, I've been detecting a long time. As a matter of fact, it's been 10 years. 10 years to the month. This month makes 10 years for me detecting, and I've found a lot of amazing things, especially if you've been watching my videos right along. I've been really lucky, really blessed to find some amazing things, and stuff I never thought I would top. And actually, here's a plug. I found something a couple years ago that might rival this as my best find. I'm on the fence of what my best find is right now. And I'm going to be putting out a video of that. I wasn't doing videos at the time, but I'm going to be putting out a video real soon of that find. And so you'll see that in the next coming weeks. And you can decide which one's better. But I'm just I'm beyond words at this point. This is such a great hobby. I'm so glad that I got into this 10 years ago. I really am. And I wish I had got into it sooner. Actually, I wish I had, I got into it when I was 30 years old. I wish I had got into it when I was in my teens. Think of the stuff I would have now. But I've got tons of stuff already, and I'm so thankful for all of it. And I love it. There's no better hobby. And I know a lot of you guys out there would agree with me. So, yeah. Amazing find, guys. I'm going to post some still pictures so you can look at those. It's better than just, looking at my unfocused video camera phone. But yeah, guys, totally psyched about this, guys. I can't imagine topping this in the future. And but who knows? Who knows? The sky is the limits with this hobby. Some amazing, incredible things have been found out there, and there's still some amazing things left to be found in the ground. So get out there, and swing, and swing with confidence that the next find is going to be your best. That's all I got, guys. We'll see you next week.